Welcome to the grammar lesson. Today we will be starting the series of grammar lessons on pronouns. Okay? Now you'll probably know what a pronoun is, but in this lesson I just want to go through a little bit of review of what is a pronoun, what are the common types of pronouns, and also what are the rules of using the pronouns. Okay, so the question there is, what is a pronoun? So this will be the series of grammar lessons that we'll be doing. There'll be a series of about 5 lessons on what is a pronoun. The first one is the proper use of pronouns. So we know what they are, but how do we use them properly? Many times we find that we use the wrong pronoun, or we wonder why we should use this pronoun and not this pronoun. Then we think there's a subject pronoun, an object pronoun, a possessive pronoun, a reflexive pronoun, intensive pronoun, and there's many more. So hopefully after this lesson, your goal should be to make sure that pronouns are used correctly in sentences, being a subject, an object, or a possessive. The next objective that we'll be looking at covering is that you can use a reflexive and intensive pronouns correctly. You may think these two pronouns are different, but actually they look very much the same. We'll take a look at some of the examples throughout this presentation. Okay, so what is a pronoun? Basically, a pronoun is a word that replaces another word or words, usually a noun or a noun phrase within a sentence. This word that is replaced is often referred to as the antecedent. So if we have a sentence, Jim drives the car, Jim drives home, Jim arrives home, Jim has dinner. There's so many repetitions here of the word Jim. Using a pronoun is a way to just make the way we say something a little bit smoother and a little bit clearer. So we can say, Jim got in the car, he drives home, he gets out of the car, he has dinner. Okay, using the pronoun he to replace Jim makes the sentences or paragraph run a bit smoother. So what are the different types of pronouns? The most common types of pronouns, here we have are subject pronouns, which are often I, you, he, she, it, you, we, they. You notice here, I actually put you and you again. Here we have you as a singular. You are listening. Or maybe you are in a class and the teacher says, all of you stop talking. So you can be singular and plural. So here we have our singular pronouns. Here we have our plural pronouns. I've kept the same pattern the whole way through. So we've got the subject pronouns, which we see very often. The next common type of pronoun is the object pronoun. Me, you, him, her, it, you, us, and them. These pronouns, they take the place of the object of the sentence. We'll get into that later on. Possessive pronouns are those pronouns that they tell you about the ownership of something. Possessive pronouns, we have mine, his, hers, its, yours, ours. The next type of pronoun are the possessive adjectives. My, his, her, its, your, our, and their. They're both possessives, but as a pronoun, it is used by itself. A possessive adjective is not really a pronoun because it's used in front of a noun to tell it who owns that thing. It's more used as an adjective here, but I've included it because often we confuse this as a pronoun. They look like a pronoun. The next type are the reflexive and the intensive pronouns. I have put them together here because reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns, they are formed the same. They are spelt the same. Here we have myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself. They are the singular pronouns, and the plural reflexive pronouns are yourselves, ourselves, themselves. Okay? We'll look at it. The next part of the presentation, we'll look at how do we use each of them. What is the rule of use? So starting off with the subject pronoun. Subject pronouns may be used to begin sentences. It replaces the noun at the front. If we've already used the noun previously, we don't want to repeat it and avoid that redundancy, we use a pronoun. So we did a great job. Okay? The we is the subject pronoun. It comes in front of the action. The next rule for subject pronoun is that it may be used to rename the subject. Looking at the example, here she decided that we should go to Phuket. So she isn't the one going to Phuket, but we are. She decided that we should go. So the pronoun is renaming the subject. It's changing the subject of the sentence. The next one is the object pronoun. And they are often used as direct objects, indirect objects. They replace the object of the sentence. For example, the teacher came with us. The subject of the sentence is the teacher. The teacher came with us. Us is the object. If we want the direct object, we could say the teacher came with the students. The teacher came with us. The teacher came with them. The teacher came with her. Okay. The next three rules relate to the more common ones, but we have the possessive pronouns, which we use possessive pronouns to show the ownership of something. So that car is mine.
That phone is mine.
That car is mine. Oh, that is my car. So if we use the possessive adjective, we put my in front of the car. But as a pronoun, we say that car is mine. Mine comes at the end. Used by itself, it kind of in a way is used as an object. It comes at the end of a sentence, usually. It is mine. Reflexive pronouns are those pronouns that refer back to the subject. So the subject is one, and then the object is also, there's no object in that sentence because the pronoun is referring back to the subject. So the subject does it to themselves or does it for themselves. For example, Peter and Paul baked themselves cakes. In this way, themselves is who the cake was baked for. And who did it? Peter and Paul. They baked it themselves. So here the reflexive, it's referring back to the subject. There is, in this way, no object. So themselves is this pronoun that refers back to this subject. It doesn't replace the subject, but it tells you who did. So they baked themselves cakes. Intensive pronouns are very much similar, but you'll see how they are used a little bit differently. Intensive pronouns are used to emphasize the subject. Instead of referring back to it, it's just to put more emphasis on that subject. For example, same example, Peter and Paul themselves baked cakes. Themselves is just emphasizing who did the baking. Here we don't know, did they bake for themselves or did they bake for someone else? It doesn't tell us. In number 5 here, they baked the cakes themselves, for themselves. They baked themselves cakes. They baked the cakes for themselves. Here, Peter and Paul themselves, they did it on their own. They baked the cake. For who? We don't know. Well, it's not easy to see from the sentence there. They may have baked it for themselves, or they may have baked it for their family. We could say, Peter and Paul themselves baked cakes for their sister's birthday. That makes it a bit more clearer. In this way, themselves is not acting as an object. They didn't bake it for themselves, but they themselves did it. Okay? Thank you very much for your attention. And next time we'll look at another part of pronouns. I will see you again in the next chapter of the What is a Pronoun. Goodbye and have fun learning grammar.